Hey everyone, so I'm here at the Method Race World First studio, so apologies for not having my normal setup, but I wanted to just get a video out for you regardless. I just thought may as well get something out quickly this week. I want to do a video on the bosses on Heroic for the raid. I've not killed Tindral yet, I've not killed Fireack, but I've done everything for the most part. This is probably what most people are gonna be hitting this week. So I want to just make a video covering some of the different builds and stuff that I'm running on the various bosses, because I know that's been some questions that I've been getting in my stream of what talents and stuff should I be doing. So I'll start out with basically Gnarlroot and Council. You can basically run like a pseudo single target AoE build, and then Igira, Volcoross, Larodar, Nymue, Smolderon. You can go single target on all of those. Larodar does have a few little intermittent adds, but I don't really think they're alive long enough where you would shift your build to any element of AoE really. You can probably just get by with like Brutal Slash. Pretty much most of them are single target, and then we have a variation with a pseudo single target AoE for two of the bosses. So that's the situation. I'll start off then with Gnarlroot. So Gnarlroot is a build where, as I'm mentioning, it's pseudo single target, pseudo AoE. So down the tree, we're pretty much going full single target. However, we are opting for Primal Wrath instead of a second point in, say, Tireless. That's just going to allow us to have a little bit of damage on these ads that need bursting down. They are, I found on my personal playthrough, that the ads were alive on the boss long enough where Primal Wrath was worth having. Potentially Tear Open Wound even was worth having as well. They were alive a decent amount of time, but I think just the addition of Primal Wrath and Brutal Slash was enough, because the big thing with Gnarlroot is when you get him down to roughly like that 40% mark, that's where you're going to get the damage increase phase, and you get a Bloodlust, which is what we did, and that's where you just want as much single target as possible. That's where all your damage for the fight is really going to come in. So you want to do some ad damage. You don't want to completely neglect them, because they do need to die as well, but you really don't want to stray too far from the pure single target. So that's what we've got going on here. I am running Feral Frenzy. I am running Incarn. I don't have the new tier set yet, though, so that's something to acknowledge. If I did have any of the new tier set, even just 2-piece, then this build would be even stronger. Obviously, we're running Feral Frenzy for everything now. I think Feral Frenzy is just strong to run, and even if the numbers weren't worth running Feral Frenzy at this point, it's probably just good to get in the habit of timing windows with Feral Frenzy and stuff anyway. They'll shift slightly because the tier set reduces the timer, but you get the point. So I ran Incarn as well. Having a nice cooldown for that burst phase was nice to have. So I think that's something to be aware of. If you can try and have your cooldowns for that burst window, then that's a good deal. Hello, Kexman. I'm doing a little recorded video, but you can be in this. No, that's fine. I'm sure people will enjoy it. And then we have Gnarlroot in general as a fight as well. I did quite like. It is a fun first boss. Honestly, the whole raid has been really, really good. I'll probably talk more about that at the end of the video. But it is a really good boss. Igira is... In fact, actually, I'll do Council next, because that's going to be a similar build. So Council, we deviate slightly from that. You can see I do opt for Tear Open Wound and no Tireless Energy. I opt for... I think that's pretty much... Oh, instead of Saber Jaws, I've gone for like a Carnivorous. I've sort of tweaked things a little bit. And then obviously I've had to put a point in for Incon there as well, instead of having double Saber Jaws. So I've tweaked it a little bit. The fight's quite strange, because it's 3 targets, but they're never properly stacked up. So you don't have consistent 3-target cleave from what I found. And I think that's the way that the fight is supposed to be designed. So I didn't take Double Coiled Rake, because that wasn't going to be worthwhile. And even on 3 targets, it's arguably not worthwhile anyway. It's only saving you one global. So didn't run that. I did still have Incon with like some burst. Cool, like have a major cooldown, cool. In general, like I think I was fine with this build. It seemed to have performed well. You can see like, logs or whatever, but especially this week, but like seemed to perform quite well, so that's cool. Happy with that. Then we and the fight in general as well, I liked it. I thought it was a nice council fight, probably my favorite council fight so far in the modern WoW era. Then I don't really have too much to say about Council. Just try your best when you're playing Council to keep your rakes on as many of them as possible, but really be focusing on the target. Because they're not shared health, really be trying to focus constantly on the target that you think is going to take the longest to kill, if that makes sense. Because they all need to die at the same time. So If you can be spreading your dots effectively, great. If as mobs sort of are moving around each other, sometimes you can hit all three with a Primal Wrath just as mobs are moving through. So if you can time those windows of your Primal Wrath refreshes, that can be a good idea. And that's basically all I have to really say on that fight strategically. We then have the single target era. So we've got Igira, which is our first single target boss. Is actually boss number 2 in the raid. Good second boss. I liked it. And this, we're not running like any Incon, not running Convoke. I will mention at this point that you can run Convoke. Absolutely. I plan on running Convoke. I plan on playing it. You can run Incon as well, but this seems to be what most people currently are running, or this at the time of when I did my raid last night. It's Thursday morning now, but Wednesday night, I'm running the builds that like I was just seeing other ferals are running as well and seeing what people are doing right now. Things might change, obviously, as people get tier set, builds might change as well. But this is the deal. You're running Adaptive Swarm, you're running Feral Frenzy, you do double Saber Jaws because of how strong it is right now, and then you do double CI. Because there's no point putting like 2 points in Frantic and then not getting Incon or something like that. So instead, you actually opt for the Adaptive Swarm. So cool. The one thing I don't know is whether this build is only good with the new tier set, or if it's only good without the new tier set, or if it's it's not dependent on the new tier set, right? So that's something I need to go personally and further research. But right now, this is what I've run, and it worked really well. I actually thought it was some good damage. I think even I was like 3rd in the raid, actually, which okay, not quite close to the 3rd spot, oftentimes known as 5th. But it was pretty good. It seemed pretty good. Seemed to be performing well. Obviously, ignore BM Hunter right now, but if you look, it's in a decent sort of avenue compared to everything else right now. So that was cool. Igira was a cool fight. We then have Volcoross, which is an interesting boss where you're rotating around the room. Unfortunately, I've not got time to edit a bunch of footage together. I wish I did. But Volcoross is a cool boss. Again, pure single target, so you can run the same exact thing, and you're playing it in the same way. Just try and maintain your Adaptive Swarm and use your Feral Frenzy during your Adaptive Swarm. Like, try and use Feral Frenzy when Adaptive Swarm is on the target. Apart from that, just bite and maintain your bleeds. It's the classic Feral stuff. Larodar. Now, this is probably where I'll mention, I know I've got like green logs, it's day 1, week 1, it's a bit whatever, but on both of these fights, I had to help heal, so I actually stopped to like heal the seed on Larodar. On Nymue, I think I was helping, I can't remember what I was doing. I was like, oh, I got the debuff during my cooldown window early on, and I had to move out, and then it's just one of those, so I would take this stuff with a pinch of salt. You can probably take these all with a pinch of salt anyway, like, it's whatever. But I know some people get a bit weird with like logs and stuff. Larodar was like a pseudo single target with a small burst window of some treants where it's like 3 ads, they're not alive very long, and you don't. I can't remember now. I'd have to look. I don't think you get your Predator proc, like your Tiger's Fury reset, from the treants because they don't technically die. They stop at 1% health, and then you heal them back up. So I need to actually go and double check if you even get the reset on Tiger Fury there. Regardless, you run Predator, so it doesn't matter too much, but something to consider in your Tiger Fury uptime and usage and stuff like that. Larodar was great boss, really looking forward to it on Mythic. Honestly, there's not been a single bad fight so far. Nymue was pure single target, and then during the intermission phase, you go and kill an ad, which is pure single target. So it's pure single target with a small side single target. Again, I'm pretty sure I ran this build as well on Nymue. I don't think I changed too much. So just run that same play style, and then same with Smolderon. Well, Smolderon is interesting. I do actually need to double check what I ran on Smolderon, because the only thing about this... Okay, I'm running Adaptive. Yeah, okay. So Smolderon, you have consistent intermission phases where you get Incon. Sorry, you get a damage increase from the orbs that you soak. So running Incon is an option, though I don't know about when it lined up. I think there was times when Berserk lined up nicely with the damage increase, so it sort of worked. So that you could do that with a damage dealt increase and then also run Incon, or like maybe 1 minute Convoke would actually be quite nice there. I do want to experiment a little bit. I didn't do too much PTR testing on most of the bosses, so if I was able to do that, I would probably try some builds out, especially when we get the new tier set where if you can do like 1 minute Convoke with Feral Frenzy, and then you can also Feral Frenzy with that damage amp, you just blow up a mob. Maybe even run Adaptive as well could be pretty sick. Would you even have the points to do that? I don't even know if you would be able to. You'd have to drop some stuff. You could, but you'd lose. Yeah, no, you'd lose Apex. Yeah, we just wouldn't run the. We just wouldn't run the adaptive there because you'd lose Apex for it, which probably isn't worthwhile. Maybe you could do like some weird thing where you do that. I don't know. That's where you just sim it or ask a theory crafter. But yeah, that was an interesting thing with Smolderon where it was a pure single target, but because of the damage amp window, that's where you can play around with maybe a peculiar build. If you can get the timings to line up nicely with that. But those are all the bosses. I just wanted to make a quick overview video. I will link to the VOD in the description if you can't wait. If you want to see my POV on each boss, I'll just link to the VOD and you can check them out. I'll try and also put timestamps of the kill VOD, of the kill pull, sorry, of each of the VODs. So look for that in the description if you do want to see actual footage, because I think it was very fun to play. All these bosses are sick. Smolderon was awesome. We actually wiped a bunch. I mean, even I know the like method guys are wiping on her, like Smolderon stuff. Obviously, there's 30 members is the carry, or like carrying people doing helping and stuff like that, doing splits. But Smolderon was the first boss. Like we wiped on a couple of these bosses, but Smolderon was the first boss where it was like, okay, it makes sense why we wiped. Because if you wipe on Nymue, you're like, guys, why did we wipe on this? It's pretty intense on healing, but it's like, maybe you got to calibrate that a little bit. Larodar, again, you'd just be like, bro, why are we wiping on this? On Heroic, come on. But Smolderon, you wipe on it, and you go, yeah, fair enough, I'm not too mad at that, makes sense. I'm not going to be too angry at the game. Really looking forward to Tindral and Fyrak. I've not done those guys yet on normal on Feral. I've done them on normal on Survival Hunter. And they both look like fun fights. They both look like they'll be sick on Heroic and Mythic, so I'm looking forward to it. That's my quick overview guide. Hope this helps. Thanks. Let me know in the comments what else you guys want to see going forward, and enjoy.